Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk everything about divorce hacks and lifestyle tips for the newly divorced woman. Today, we are going to dive into the topic on whether or not your spouse can take the jewelry that he has gifted you over the years when you get divorced. So, first, in order to discuss whether or not jewelry can be taken away from you, we need to understand the concept of equitable distribution, which we do in New Jersey. Equitable distribution means you're going to split assets that were acquired during the marriage. So assets that are acquired during the marriage are typically marital assets and subject to a split. Now, sometimes it's not a 50-50 split, but equitable means fair. So it's a fair split. So let's say over the years, your husband has bought you Rolex watches, a Cartier watch, beautiful Tiffany jewelry, and things of that nature, and fur coats, let's say. And when you get a divorce, you don't think that he would ever ask for that stuff back, but now he's hired a lawyer who is thirsty. And the lawyer says, let's go after all the fur coats that were acquired, because after all, these things were acquired using marital funds. If you buy your wife a fur coat, it is assumed that you have bought the coat after earning the money to buy the coat, and you give her the gift. And likewise, women buy gifts for their husbands too that are equally as expensive. And whether or not she can get her stuff back that she gifted to her husband. So ladies and gentlemen, this is a two-way street. So first, I want to start by saying this. Anything that is gifted to you or your spouse during the marriage can be subject to equitable distribution if it is deemed marital property. So let's talk about the things I just said. A watch, a diamond tennis bracelet. It is more likely than not that that will be deemed separate property, because the general rule of law is that gifts are not subject to equitable distribution. They're almost the same as inheritances, which is a lot more clear and unambiguous. The reason I say that is because a gift can be something like this. Your family has always wanted a boat. It's your wife's birthday or your anniversary coming up, and you went out and bought a 34-foot boat. And you take your wife down the shore and you're going to surprise her with this boat. Is that really a gift for your wife, or is that a gift for the family? Or did you buy it as an investment? You plan on selling it later to make money? Did you buy an expensive $1 million piece of art and gift it to your husband saying, look, honey, we have a Romer Bearden on the wall now. Happy birthday. That may be subject to equitable distribution, as well as that boat. And why? Because things that are purchased under the guise of a gift that can be looked at as an investment is probably subject to equitable distribution. So the boat that you have, if it's going to be sold, you would get your fair share of the selling price, the net proceeds. Likewise, the Romer Bearden, whatever the value is at that time, if you can sell it, you would be able to reap half of the benefit of that. It can hardly be argued that that Romer Bearden or that yacht was given to you as a true gift. So we have to look at whether or not it's a marital asset or was it truly a gift. And typically very expensive things, and when I say very expensive, I'm not talking about $10,000, $20,000. I'm talking about artwork that you may even have insured. I'm talking about something like a yacht. I'm talking about anything that is really expensive may be subject to equitable distribution, because it can't really be deemed a gift, right? That's all fair. So I had a case, let me tell you a story. I had a case. The wife could not stand her husband. They pre-sold a marital home before they got married. And the lawyer gave the wife half her proceeds and the husband half the proceeds, to the extent they had about $100,000 each. The husband then came back and said that he wants to reconcile. To make a long story short, babe, put all your money in my account. Let's start again. And I love you. Let's do this. She puts $100,000 in the account. The following day, he took $50,000 out of the account. She immediately took the remaining $50,000. When she came to me to get the divorce, she was short $50,000 because her husband basically stole the money under the guise that we're getting back together. Well, she was bamboozled, right? Now, some women would say, well, I would never have put my money in that joint account. And I'm one of those some women. But what happened is this woman decided the Rolex watch that she gifted her husband, that she was going to not give it to him and argue that it was her watch. And as her lawyer, I believed it because she told me that. However, the receipt said men's Rolex watch. Now, that doesn't mean anything, right? Because women can wear men's watches and vice versa. Well, the judge didn't see it that way. The judge said the receipt says men's watch, and we're going to assume that you gifted that watch to your husband since he's vehemently arguing for this watch. Well, what does my client do? She sells the watch. How much does she sell it for? Some low number, like $3,000. But the receipt had indicated that the watch was like $24,000. Well, the judge was not having it. He says he gets half the value of that watch since there is a dispute as to whether or not you owned it or he owned it. So we're going to assume that watch is a marital asset, and we're not going to take the lowball value that you sold it for. We're going to take it at the value that it was when you purchased it. Therefore, he's entitled to the $12,000, which was half the price of the original purchase price of the Rolex watch. So you have to be very careful in divorce when you want to spite someone that you are not selling off an asset simply because you're mad, or selling off a gift you provided someone simply because you're mad, because that person will be entitled to that money back if you get a divorce. So can he take your jewelry? No, he cannot if it was a gift of moderate value. But if it was a gift that would be deemed a household gift, like an expensive piece of art or a yacht, then no, that gift to you, and many people say, oh, my husband bought me a yacht for my birthday. Well, he bought it for the family. I mean, he said, babe, this is a surprise. That would be subject to equitable distribution, and it's not something that you could fight for and say that that boat is now yours. I hope that you enjoyed this video about whether or not he could take your jewelry, and that you hit the like and subscribe button, and stay tuned because I have some juicy stuff coming up. I also have something called Me Personally, which is an episode about a day in the life of Kecia Clarke Michel, and I'm interested in to see your thoughts on how I spend my days. I look forward to hearing from you. Until the next video, take care.